Well, honestly, me saying Raj stop stroking Dwayne is probably a pretty good one. Not gonna lie, you just go open with that, just no context.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Coconut Curry Podcast. If you are new around here, we are three college guys at the University of Pittsburgh just chatting about sports and hopefully offering a fresh new perspective. If you're new around here, please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out my Starbucks addiction and Raj's gambling addiction, and Peter has some sort of addiction. I don't know exactly what it is, but
I just need food, man.
Peter just needs food, but Raj and I have actual addictions that we need to fund, so please help do so.
Please. I lost $50 on roulette this weekend. Please.
And whose fault was that?
Mine.
Roulette's like the worst game to play if you're like trying to like make
Yeah. Jacob baited me into playing, and surely it wouldn't have been red three times in a row.
Yeah, I mean, you always bet on black, but like,
yeah, and then it was red 3 times in a row. Surely that wouldn't happen.
no, and then he got mollywopped by the house.
Anyways,
It happens.
Anyways, besides Raj's bad gambling addiction and my coffee addiction, we are really here to talk about the NFL, especially during this time of year. So we're just going to hop right into it. It was week 10, right?
How is it already week 10?
Yeah, week 10 of the NFL. The first thing I want to say is I'm sorry to all the teams who haven't had a bye week. Like I've watched them play and I'm just like, I feel bad. Like they are just like, like the Ravens, for example, they've been playing forever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a long stretch of games. And the other, like, especially as an Eagles fan, just having the week off, I was like, the team really needed this. I'm sure. I think the Ravens play next week and then have a bye week. And I'm like, golly, like that's a long time to play.
My heart feels so much better right now.
Because you're not stressed.
My mental health is great.
Until we play the Chiefs, but
yep.
Whatever.
But we're going to hop right into the big games. And I think the biggest game, honestly, right now, like this week, was the Texans and Bengals game.
That was an awesome game.
I don't know what the script writers were cooking this week.
They were cooking with gas this week.
Yeah, Texans beat the Bengals, who were at home, 30-27. And the big question leading from this game is CJ Stroud an MVP candidate?
I mean, like, because look, he did have some mistakes. He had 2 fumbles lost. He had a bad pick, but he immediately bounced back from that and then led his team down the field, kicked the field goal to win the game. Like the Texans live and die by CJ Stroud, and the fact that they are a fringe playoff team, like, come on.
It's not even fringe. They're only 1 game back of the Jaguars for the division, and they're in the spot right now. Now, I mean, like the AFC is just a bloodbath.
That's why I say I don't mean fringe as in like they're bad. I mean fringe as in like they literally are on the fringe, but they easily could take that division if they wanted to. What are your thoughts, Raj?
Joe Burrow makes me sad.
Joe Burrow makes me sad.
We'll talk about Joe Burrow in a little bit.
Oh my God.
So the big national attention coming out of this game is the CJ Stroud MVP candidate. And I think anybody who like right now wants to make the argument he is in a spot to win the MVP is absolutely delusional. Because
who's the MVP?
Listen, I understand that.
No, he's not.
Now,
TJ Watt.
There's a couple of things from this game. CJ Stroud could absolutely win the MVP award.
He should
for a couple of reasons. But if he keeps it up, like if the way the Texans are currently playing, there's 0% chance. The last 3 people to win MVPs were Lamar, Aaron Rodgers, Mahomes. They had a record of starting all the way from 5 years ago. Mahomes 12-4, Lamar 14-2, Rodgers 13-3, Rodgers 13-4. Last year, Mahomes 14-3 record.
Okay.
So those records are all like that. The Texans would max out at 4 losses because they're 5-4 right now with the whole rest of the schedule left. Then the worst record since 2010 to win the MVP award was 10-6. That's when Adrian Peterson did it with the Vikings. So the reason I don't think he can win the award is because I don't think he has enough wins to win the award, especially if you have a team like the Eagles who are 8-1.
Okay, so are you saying more that not that you don't think he's the MVP, but just that he won't win it? I think
he's playing like an MVP.
I see.
I think there's no way
that they won't give it to him.
Yeah, because you need to win. Like if you look, I mean, from 2010, the worst record being 10-6. If the Bengals, if not the Bengals, the Texans have that bad of a record. Like that's worse at like 10 if that finished 10-7 or 11-5. You're really gonna have to, or 11-6. You really have to bring the argument up like, how do we give it to a guy? With the record like that, especially again if like the Chiefs end up going, they have 2 losses now. Let's say they get through, they go 14-3, or if the Eagles go 15-2. Yeah, like if that happens or something. I don't see a way you just give it to the best guy on the winning team.
Yeah. Like I mean that's just the way it's always been. Really, it's like either when it comes to, I guess when Rodgers was playing, it was like the statistically like the best quarterback on the best team
Yeah.
kind of thing.
And I'm okay with the record. I'm okay with it not going that exact way for the MVP award.
Yeah.
But I do think you have to factor that in a little bit when it comes to. Like,
Oh,
I feel like
yeah,
a lot of people
100%,
are making these
yeah.
claims like he's the MVP. I'm like, you're not the MVP if you're the 7th seed in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Using a tiebreaker against the Bengals, the team you just beat last week, to get into the playoffs.
Mhm.
And if the Bills win tonight, I don't know what the tiebreaker goes for the Bills and Texans, but they could just jump over the Texans, and the Texans are out of the playoffs.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of room left, and that's why I wanted to talk about the Texans' schedule coming up, because the Texans, who are a fringe playoff team right now, have the Titans twice.
They can beat them twice.
They can beat them twice. The Colts once. Even though the Colts are 5-5, you're not really like scared of playing the Colts.
Mhm.
They have the Jets, who can't beat one of the worst teams in football. The Broncos, the Cardinals, the Jags, and the Browns. The Jags and Browns, obviously, 2 tough games.
Yeah, those are 2 more tough games, but other than that,
they might have the easiest schedule left in the league.
like it's a pretty winnable schedule.
That's a really winnable schedule. So if you take 3 losses, you can get to 10-7. I don't think that wins you the MVP, but it gets you in the playoffs potentially. And
Yeah,
that
true.
would be huge.
That
If
would
you
be huge.
lose 2 and you're 11-6,
That's
I
a
think
much better.
I think you're in MVP conversation.
Yeah.
Especially if your stats hold, because there's a lot
Exactly.
of categories. Now,
Yeah.
he's only 10th in the league in QBR, and he has a bad completion percentage.
He does. Yeah, they do have him throwing a lot.
They have
every
him throwing
game.
a lot. So those are things to keep an eye on, especially as like maybe Jalen Hurts starts playing a little better, Mahomes start playing better. You could see a situation where he where Stroud starts to fall out of the conversation a little bit, just because I don't think his
When the top quarterbacks in the league start playing like the top quarterbacks
yeah,
in the
because
league.
I mean,
like,
look, and numbers aren't everything. When you look at his interception and touchdown ratio, great. Passing yards, the 2 guys who lead the league right now, Sam Howell and CJ Stroud. Like,
it's insane. Yeah.
like no one thinks Sam Howell's that guy.
Yeah.
and he leads the league in passing.
Yeah,
yards,
because they just
so-
have him throw like 50 times a game. So like
exactly. So keep an eye on. Again, I'm happy that the CJ Stroud's getting the attention he deserves. I just think everyone's saying he's like
he is the
MVP.
crown him MVP right now. Yeah.
it's like,
We still got a little while.
I think
to go.
Jared Goff is very much an MVP over him right now. And we're
That's
looking at,
okay.
can
That's
see that.
valid.
we're looking
I
at the
can see that.
7-2 Lions
I can see that.
versus the 5-4
Texans.
Texans.
Yeah.
I think Jared Goff is the guy you're looking at for that award
Right now.
Right now,
Yes.
And,
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot can change because, as we said, the Texans could go on a streak where, if the Texans theoretically won out that schedule, I would understand why. I don't think they will. I don't think it's reasonable, but I could understand how they could win out that schedule. It's so
Yeah,
easy.
like if you were to tell me like each of those games, like they beat the Titans twice. Okay, they beat the Colts. Yep. They beat the Jets. Yep. They beat the Broncos. Yep. They beat the Cardinals. Yep. They beat the Jags. Yep. And then if they beat the Browns at the end of the year, maybe they're on a hot streak. Maybe the Browns are out of the playoffs by that point. Maybe they're already in the playoffs.
well,
Maybe
that's not in
they're
order. So I have no idea where they play the Browns.
Oh,
but
okay.
yeah.
Whatever.
But they've
Yeah.
played the Jags already.
Yeah.
So they'll play them for a second time. It's a different time you play a team twice.
Mhm.
And then again, the Browns, you don't know where they'll stand. And also just like, it's not like anyone's looking at the Browns and Jags and are like, those are world beater teams they can't beat. The Jags just got destroyed this week.
Yeah, the Jags got destroyed, and also like the Browns' defense is really good, but like I think they do struggle sometimes against very pass-heavy teams. So because like they have Denzel Ward, great corner, but I think their secondary is a little bit on the weaker side. It's not amazing.
They've hemorrhaged some games. Remember that Colts game where they got thrown on like for
Exactly.
33 points, I think it was. And then
Yeah.
this game they played recently, which we'll talk about, was a 31 point let up.
Yeah, so and that's the thing is that like if you're going to be going into like a true shootout where I mean the Ravens are just going to choke, whatever. We're going to get to that game eventually.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like the Browns defense, like they were letting up some points, and I still don't think that Deshaun Watson is that guy. I'm sorry.
He is.
He's a solid quarterback. He's not top 10.
He's a shell of his former self.
Yes, he is a shell of his former self. I guess those massages didn't work.
Raj, talk about what this meant for the Bengals. 'Cause I think this is like a huge, costly loss for the Bengals.
This is not good for them. What are they? 5-4. Their last name AFC North.
Mhm.
That's just a complete bloodbath, though.
Yeah, that
So, like,
division every year.
I don't know. This is like because they get to pick off CJ Stroud. No, they scored on that play. Yeah, they scored. So they score on that play. Whatever. CJ Stroud made the mistake. Their defense. You let CJ Stroud drive down on the field on you, just a deep pass to Dalton Schultz, and he gets it into field goal range immediately. Like, you know what's coming.
Yeah.
And you have to play prevent defense, but you let up all that big chunk yardage, and next thing you know, they are in field goal range, and you lost the game right there.
Yeah, it didn't really make sense because like you were saying, like you're in prevent defense, but you're not preventing a touchdown, you're preventing a field goal. It was a tie game.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are you doing?
You're not playing the end zone. You're playing like the 45-yard
Yeah,
line.
and like that's the whole thing is that's like if you really want to try to let CJ Stroud rip off like a 65-yard pass in the air down the field and he catches it, whatever. But you can't let like a 45-yard under route to a tight end and then they just go and take one knee, kick a field goal, and win the game. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it was horrible, and I understand a little bit if like I don't know, they made some questionable calls because they were a tanking team, kind of like when the Texans played. Was it the Falcons? Texans played Falcons.
Yes.
Yeah, and like I could understand a little bit where like you play a kind of goofy coverage because if you're not
we're trying to take,
or you're just trying to be a little bit more risky. But this is like a game that mattered a lot, and you've got a team that's gone to the Super Bowl before, especially a lot of those defensive pieces. Like, man up, play it like it's an entire field. Like, you're not letting them get anything.
Yeah,
like call it like that. Don't
like obviously you're going to be in zone, but like get physical with them. Like hit them at the line. Don't let them just get a free release and just stay with them. Because like because they weren't rushing anybody. They had everybody sitting in zone, and then just Schultz just standing there wide open.
Like you said, it felt like they were like trying to avoid a touchdown.
And like they don't need that.
They didn't need the touchdown.
Yeah,
I don't know if they thought because they had a backup kicker in that they were like, oh well. If we keep him at the 40-yard kick or whatever, then we'll be fine. It's like, no, like
he's made kicks already. During the game.
He's a good kicker.
Yeah, he's already made kicks during the game. Like
it made no sense. So
Zach Taylor's a hack.
For the Bengals, again, this is just like stresses the importance of why you can't go 1-4 or whatever it was to start the year, because now they're in a horrible situation. Like they are the last place in their division. They're out of the playoffs currently. They're going to be in an absolute bloodbath to get through the rest of the like league. So and get to the playoffs. So we'll talk about it a little bit when we talk about like Super Bowl contenders. But the Bengals have this brutal stretch of football coming up. They have to play. Like I think they play the Ravens next week. If they lose to the Ravens, it's over.
Yeah,
like they can't be 5-5.
Yeah,
especially with that many division losses. And like. The Steelers got a game up on them now. They play the Steelers twice. Like imagine the Steelers take one off of them.
Yeah,
and like it's
very possible too.
Like they just come like because the Steelers for some reason are dynamite at home.
Yeah,
but
and Teddy fourth quarter Pickett.
Yeah, he turns into Tom Brady, but plays like trash the first 3 quarters. I don't know.
Let's just look down the Bengals schedule real quick, just because I think, especially for a team that we thought can potentially win the Super Bowl going into the year.
AFC North
we've got Ravens. On the road, who just lost.
Yeah.
That's which is notable. Steelers at home, Jaguars on the road, Colts at home, Vikings at home, which now the Vikings looks like a hard game.
Dobbs.
Jefferson's coming back.
Yeah, Jefferson will be back. You got the Steelers on the road, the Chiefs on the road, and to end the season, you have the Browns at home, who are likely going to be fighting for a potential like playoff spot.
They're not making the playoffs.
They're not going to.
That division's a bloodbath.
Like they're 5-4. Let's say you need to be 10-7 to have a shot, right?
Yeah, like you have to.
I think there's easily 3 losses on that schedule. Like I'll just chalk up one of the Steelers games as a loss. I'm chalking up the Ravens game as a loss and the Chiefs game. I think those are reasonable losses. That's not counting the Vikings, the Browns, the Jags.
And who knows? Gardner Minshew could do something with the Colts.
Yeah, you never know. Like he could always just turn because randomly
Colts are 5-5.
They randomly get good out of nowhere sometimes.
Gardner
Like
will rush for 3 touchdowns for some reason. Jonathan Taylor will drop 200 yards on you.
Yeah, like for all you know, like
whatever. I mean, just like it was that game where like all of a sudden they were trending up, and you're like, oh, they're a really good team. And I don't think this loss is that indicative of the Bengals being bad. But the problem is it mattered a lot for standings.
Yeah.
And
they just simply got outplayed on that last drive. Whoever their DC is fumbled the bag with what defense he was calling.
Yeah, really.
And the Bengals had a tough first start to the season, but the problem was they lost games like the Seahawks, the Titans, the Browns to start the year. And those losses will add up very quickly. And those were games that they needed to win. They were not great early on. And now you come to the harder part of the schedule, and again, the AFC North is not giving you any like break. They're just great again.
Last season, I genuinely think the Bengals got lucky because Lamar got hurt, Huntley got put in, so the Ravens were weak already. The Steelers were dealing with
existing
because Trubisky then Penny goes in.
Yeah,
and then who else? The
Browns. Watson was hurt.
Yeah, Watson was hurt. So you had PJ Walker. No.
Whoever.
Jacoby Brissett played last year.
Yeah. And Brissett wasn't even playing that bad either, but still, like, you had a division with a rookie QB,
a backup QB, and a backup QB.
Yeah. So the Bengals last season, obviously,
when you put it like that, yeah. Well, Brissett was on the Ravens. right?
No, that was Huntley.
Oh yeah.
Was that the poop game? No, that was 2 years ago.
No.
Never mind. Do you want to just stay in division at this point? Just go Browns, Ravens?
Yeah, we'll say in division. Yeah, Browns beat the Ravens, who were at home.
The Ravens choked
33
so hard. Oh my God.
It looked like an absolute, like,
It was a spanking at first.
I was ready to crown the Ravens as the number 1 team in the league because they were up 14-0 on the Browns and like
it was 31-17 with like 8 minutes left in the fourth. And they lost.
It's a disaster. Like for them. And the kicker in all of this is the Chiefs are like laughing their ass off.
Yeah, because
they lost a game that they should have won, that being the Broncos game. Yeah. And now they've like
went into the bye week.
They come into the bye week. They've fallen down to the same record, like same loss column
as everybody else,
as the Ravens, and a bunch of other teams before the Jags lost, and we'll get to that. But now the Ravens just handed them a game at home against the Browns, like that you were up that big. It wasn't like you just got outplayed the whole entire game. You were up big
because
you got to pick number 1. You got to pick 6 on the Browns to start the game.
Yeah, you got to pick 6 on the Browns to start the game, and then so 31-17. Browns score a touchdown, 24-31. All right, whatever. Pick 6 immediately.
Yep.
Immediately. Then it's, oh my God, it's 30-31. And then the kicker shanks the extra point. It's 31-30. Just burn the clock. And you couldn't manage to do that. And then they just come down, kick a field goal, win the game. That's it. Like, what are we doing? Harbaugh's supposed to be a defensive guy.
It's dreadful. Like, you can't. I just, like, when you think about this division specifically and the need to, like, separate yourself from the pack to get to 8-2, and you can't manage to do that. Now you're 7-3. The Browns have 3 losses.
Yeah.
The Steelers have 3 losses. Very well looking at a situation where
they could sneak right back up.
If you lose next week to the Bengals,
yeah,
which is a possibility. That is not a ludicrous
this Thursday.
This Thursday, a day or 2 after this podcast comes out, if they lose to the Bengals, and the Steelers and the Browns win, I don't know who they're playing.
Yeah,
maybe they're playing each other.
They easily could fall to 3rd of the division. They could go from 1st to 3rd.
Who are the Steelers playing?
When there was no Browns and Steelers are playing each other. So
Jesus
one
Christ.
of those teams,
George Pickens is going to kill someone.
So one of those teams
is going to jump.
Will jump you if you lose to the Bengals.
Yeah.
And you will be relegated to the same losses as the Bengals because you will now have 4 losses.
Yeah.
And the Bengals will have 4 losses.
Would they be tied or they be who would be above who?
It'd be head to head at
so
the moment.
It would be whenever Browns Steelers.
Yeah, whoever wins Browns Steelers.
And then the Steelers beat the Ravens. So then it'd be Steelers.
Yeah. Oh God.
And then it would be Ravens would have it because they have one more game because they didn't have a bye week.
Yeah.
Or the Steelers not have a bye week. No, they're 6-3.
Yeah.
So Steelers bye week. So the Ravens would still be up half of a game because of the extra win.
Mm-hmm.
But you're there looking at a situation where, again, the standings are so close. And it's hard not to overreact. But where you are at week 10, like we are over halfway point in the football season. The standings do matter.
Yeah.
And this is a bad loss, especially because of the position they were in, where it was so much in their hands. And this is also a reason why I just don't believe the Ravens have what it takes to win a Super Bowl.
The rest of the Ravens schedule doesn't look too good either. It's Bengals, Chargers, Rams, which who knows? Carson Wentz might pop off.
Who knows? Yeah.
Jags, also T-Law could pop off.
Okay.
Niners.
Oh God.
Dolphins, and then Steelers.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, it's not a great schedule at all. Especially like that, like those games, especially because their division is so tough.
Mm-hmm.
Playing the Steelers last game of the season.
Again,
everyone's going to be fighting for that playoff spot.
It's the Steelers. Like, for all we know, the game's going to end 16-14, and TJ Watt's going to have a pick 6.
4 out of 7 of those games can be like they might not be favored in those.
Yeah.
Or it might be like one of those like both teams are minus 100 to win.
And I like I like the Ravens too.
I do like the Ravens.
Like I like what they have going on there.
They just choked.
Yeah.
They could easily have cemented themselves as the lead of the division, really push ahead and like take hold of
and start putting pressure on a team like the Chiefs.
Exactly. And really go for the 1 seed. But then now it's like, hang on. This got way more interesting.
We got the choke-off bowl, Ravens Chargers.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
It's gonna be another who wants to lose.
Puka Nacua legacy game against the Ravens, maybe.
Who knows?
I don't know what's up with Deshaun Watson. He has these moments where he like short circuits and then like other times where he looks like old Deshaun. Like I watched him scramble out of the pocket.
Yeah, he scrambled out the pocket, like through the pump fake, like got outside
to get into field goal range.
Yeah,
and I was like, that was like elite, like vintage Deshaun Watson.
Yeah,
But then like he starts the game by throwing it right into Kyle, like right into a helmet or something for a deflection. Kyle Hamilton pick six.
It's like, don't throw that.
Like,
It's like, hey, the guy's jumping 10 feet in the air. Don't throw it.
yeah,
Throw it
Just tuck it.
Throw it as helmet.
Just or ground.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Like-
Like you'll take the intentional grounding. Not a pick six.
Great QB skills, Deshaun.
Or like just hold on to the ball and try to get around him. He's not going to be able to.
No receivers
Whatever.
open. Dude, jump in my face. I'm gonna throw it at his hands.
Like, what do you? Whatever.
I mean, I'll give him credit though because a lot of people were giving him flack for the injuries. He was like potentially faking. He played through some stuff this weekend.
He
Like,
did.
This week
he was getting beat up all over the place and kept coming back in and fighting through it. So I'll give him credit for that. But
Still hate him, but
the big takeaway from this first like 15 minutes or 16 minutes of the podcast is the AFC North is making everything extremely
every year
complicated.
they just beat the out of each other without question, and it's just I don't know what they put in the water between like Ohio, Pennsylvania, Maryland. I don't know what's going on there, but they go at it every year.
Yep. And then we'll get to see it. I mean, Browns Steelers, I expect nothing less than like a defensive, like just dog fight.
Every year.
And
Pickens will probably.
hopefully nobody says any slurs and hits each other.
Pickens is gonna fight Kyle Hamilton. I'm calling it
Dude,
now.
I hope that happens. That'd be so
They're two of the most
entertaining.
aggressive people I've seen in the recent
You
weeks.
mean the Kyle Hamilton and Pickens, not the racial slurs.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
god.
No.
We were having two different conversations here, okay?
Oh my god.
I was talking about the fist fight that was going to be happening on the field. Not the racial slurs. We need to make that abundantly clear to anybody that's going to be hiring me in the future.
Oh my god.
Moving on to one of the game of the year candidates over here at
Yeah.
Lions Chargers. It was a really fun game, high
It was
scoring
an
game.
awesome game to
And
watch.
41-38, but it's the Chargers, so of course
They're
they
gonna
lost the
choke.
game. They lost the game, and they just kill me every single week because they always find ways to lose.
How do the Chargers manage to do this every single year where they have a great offense, great players on defense, somehow awful special teams, and then just lose at all chances they have to lose? They've been doing this since we've been alive.
Yeah.
I know it's not a hot take. Their head coach is defensive. They've drafted and traded and signed defensive players the whole time.
How are you letting up 41 points?
41 points. And this is not like this is a one-off.
No.
This happens all the time.
Yeah.
Brandon Staley is a hack. That's why.
Needs to get fired.
That's all.
I would genuinely consider firing him this week. Just get him out of the team. Like, because it's not working.
You can put Kellen Moore as interim.
Raj, who has more wins? The Raiders or the Chargers?
No, the Raiders are 5-5.
Yep, the Raiders have more wins. You'd be correct. Raj, who has more wins? The Jets or the Chargers?
The Jets, yeah.
They have the same number of wins.
Trick
Yeah.
question.
If the Broncos win tonight, who has more wins? The Broncos?
Is that the same amount of wins?
They have the same amount of wins. So the teams that we are saying in the league that are dumpster fires, the quarterback who can't play quarterback, the Raiders who fired their coach in the middle of the year, who have a rookie quarterback, the Broncos who have been a dumpster fire and we're clowning on, got 70 points scored on them by the Dolphins. Those teams, the Chargers are worse off than they are.
What are the Commanders?
The Commanders are 4-6.
The Commanders are 4-6.
It's creeping up.
The Bears have 3 wins, I
Yeah.
think. The Bears have 3 wins.
Don't worry, the Giants only have 2. So
The Panthers have.
Yeah,
Don't worry about that.
Anyways.
but this is like the Chargers being 4-5 is really just a, like, especially when you have the Raiders being a 5-5 football team, these other teams that are hanging in there in the fight, and the Chargers have all that talent, and they're not producing anything.
If Brock Purdy falls off, the 49ers should trade for Justin Herbert.
Chargers owner.
I mean, that would be, what would it cost though?
Everything.
Oh, well.
Yeah,
You would
Alright.
trade your team, but
This
It'd
is
be
a message.
sick.
This is a message to Dean Spanos, the owner of the Chargers. Fire Brandon Staley.
I would
Put
just
Kellen Moore as interim. Figure it out. Salvage the season or tank. Just get that man out of LA.
in my opinion, there's just no harm in firing Brandon Staley. Like, your defense doesn't look good.
No.
I don't think the message is resonating. You're 4-5. You need to get the wins. Like, your team is good enough. They're competing now. Fire in midseason. Hope it's a boost. And otherwise, you're not making the playoffs. So,
Yeah.
like, they're in way worse shape than what we're talking about with the Bengals, or we think they're in horrible shape. The Chargers are in awful shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, they blew a 30-point lead to Trevor Lawrence last year in the playoffs. Like,
Yeah.
what is good with that team?
yeah, I mean, it's just nothing's good. Give the Lions credit. they're still looking like a great team. Although they were pulling some plays out of their playbook that were like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is a regular season game, guys. Like, save it for the playoffs. They ran a tight, like their second or third string tight end.
The tight of the deep route.
Ran a deep route. And I was
past everybody.
Like, why are we playing? Like, I was like, this is a regular season
They were in
game.
their bag for that game.
I was like, save it for the playoffs.
Kellen Moore was cooking.
Yeah, and I will say though, like we do also have to remember the fact that this was a tie game for a very, very long time. So this easily could have flipped and gone the other way. That we were like, oh my God, Brandon Staley's a genius. He's so aggressive.
No. I don't care. Even if Brandon Staley does something good, it's Kellen Moore.
But what I'm saying is, like, I think you could see the flashes of the Lions. Like, okay, like sometimes their defense just shows out and mauls a team. Their offense is like, it's all right. I think this week we kind of saw, all right, they now have a really balanced run game. We're finally seeing that two-headed monster of Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery.
It's so good they're using them together.
They're using them for different roles, but together.
Hey, Arthur Smith, take some notes. I hate you.
I was just going to say Arthur Smith should really be paying attention.
Arthur Smith should we need to tie that man down to a chair and do like the Clockwork Orange, like opening his eyes up and just have him watch a first-round running back actually do well.
Yeah.
This is a message to Arthur Smith. You are a Nepo child. You don't deserve to be where you are right now. Stop hiding behind daddy's money, and you're done. You are not good at... Who let you be a coach? Who? You are terrible. You have Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and Desmond Rand, whatever. You have Heineke.
Yeah. Cordell
Patterson. Use them right. Please. You are going for 2 where you would not have lost that game. You run a flood concept where they read that play like a book. They saw Drake London going out into the flat.
Gee, I wonder who they're going to throw it to.
Oh my God, it's going to Drake London. Crazy. You have Bijan Robinson. Just give him the ball.
Just have him run the other way.
Like, holy shit. Arthur Smith, you are terrible. You have the brain of a baby llama, dude. You need to be fired.
Llama.
Yeah,
I've been on that kick lately.
Yeah, he's been on the llama kick recently. Also, the thing that I don't understand is like he kind of partially said at one point that they were tanking, but then they're like not. Like they're still trying to win.
I guess we'll just do the Arthur Smith segment now.
Who cares? Let's just go right into it. Like
it's unbelievable to me. Number one, you draft Bijan Robinson, number 7 overall, and I understand you want to play him. Like you don't want to you want to rest him a little bit. You don't want him to burn out super easy as a running back, but
whatever.
But you're not playing him on snaps. You're putting him in the lineup when he's sick and making him dress and not playing him like weird. You're not giving him snaps. You're not giving him a lot of opportunities. You say Desmond Ridder's your guy right after you pulled him for Taylor Heineke in the week because he was kind of maybe concussed. And then this week, the week afterward, you play Taylor Heineke the entire game. So now I'm not sure if you actually like Desmond Ridder or not. You're kind of competing for the playoffs, I guess, with Taylor Heineke, but also your team's not ready to compete right now.
No.
So, like, what are you doing?
You tank for Drake May.
At this point,
I mean,
you're not beating the Giants, though.
That's true.
If you are going to tank, you might as well just tank with Desmond Ridder. See if he's the guy. Because, like, what if you can't get Drake May and you have to draft someone else?
Yeah.
Then maybe you could at least stick with Desmond Ridder, see what he has in him. But you're not even giving him that opportunity. When you were playing Desmond Ridder too, like you were giving him some opportunities, but like there's not a reason that Kyle Pitts isn't even getting targeted.
No.
And I don't know if it's not. I can't see, like, I'm not watching full field like plays develop, so I'm not sure if he's getting separation or not.
I promise you he is.
But he's Kyle Pitts.
He's Kyle Pitts.
He didn't just suddenly become bad.
Yeah.
And Drake London's good.
Yeah.
They just don't use any of their players right.
It just
at
doesn't
all.
make sense. It doesn't make sense at all.
Back to the Lions though.
Yeah.
I wanted to go over their schedule real quick because this is the path for Jared Goff to win MVP.
Okay.
Bears.
Win.
Packers.
Win.
Lions.
What?
Bears. Oh, sorry. Restart. Bears.
Win.
Packers.
Win.
Saints.
Win.
Bears.
Win.
Broncos.
Win.
Vikings.
Win.
Cowboys. Vikings.
Okay, so they'll probably split with the Vikings and probably lose to the Cowboys.
Yes.
So they probably have 2 more losses.
So they have 2 losses, maybe even worst case 3.
Yeah.
That puts them at 12-5 or 13-4.
Okay, I think Goff might have a shot there. If he continues to put up numbers like this every week.
Yeah. Again, no one else is separating. No one else is putting that big gap on here.
Yeah.
You got a team at 7-2 right now with a favorable schedule coming up.
They turn on the Jets there at the end.
Especially, like, what about the Vikings like kind of fade a little bit and then the last game of the season's like not that big of a deal?
Yeah.
Or what about the Cowboys have it locked up on December 30th?
Yeah. What if they're already like, oh,
what if they're already out of the Eagles position, but way high in the other standings?
Yeah, they've
they
already
don't need-
clinched. They're already going to get in.
So they're just chilling the last 2 weeks. Like, very real chance the Lions have a great record, and their quarterback just didn't turn the ball over as much as like Jalen Hurts and wins.
Like an Aaron Rodgers kind of situation where they're just a really solid team, and he just has a really good touchdown to interception ratio and just has good yards.
And with how our predictions have been lately, this is exactly,
this
is exactly how Jared Goff
cooking recently.
This
So
is exactly how Jared Goff is going to win the 2024
if
NFL MVP
if
award.
they manage to win.
Well, again, my predictions.
Yes,
they will.
Okay. So you okay? Wait, hang on. You are saying right here, right now in this podcast, Jared Goff is winning the 2023-2024 MVP.
Are you
gotta
looking
give
at
me a
odds?
second.
You gotta give me a
No.
sec.
I'm looking at schedules.
It's plus 2,500.
I'm looking at schedules.
I'm going to say this right here, right now. The Bills are going to lose tonight. It's going to be an embarrassing loss.
Is this in Buffalo or is
Whoa,
it?
dude, you're off topic.
No idea. I don't care.
Give me a second to cook on the Jared Goff take. I'll have an
I'll start
opinion by
talking.
the end.
All right.
No, I'll have an opinion at the end of the podcast.
Okay, end of the podcast.
I need to think about it because schedules matter in this case.
Okay.
Because the Lions have lost 3 games, I think. Right? I gotta check my script. I don't know if they have 2 losses. Okay, they have 2 losses. Okay. Let me think about this a minute.
Okay. Do you want me to just go to the next one while you think, or
No, we'll keep cooking.
We're gonna
All right.
keep cooking,
Those were
okay.
the games that cared, were good, and mattered.
mattered, yeah.
Here are the games that mattered. I care about a little bit,
yeah.
but not necessarily that they were good. Because
Yes.
we're starting off with the Steelers are never a good team to watch play football.
Good God, how do they keep winning? I
They
don't
always
get it.
win, and it makes no sense. They had no business winning this Packers
They
game
have
either.
they have had less yards than every single team that they have played this year, and they have a negative point differential.
And they're not 5-4 or 5.
They are
They're
6-3. What the hell?
They're
Kenny,
significantly over 500.
Fourth quarter Pickett.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Yeah, Kenny Clutch is on.
But it doesn't matter when you, because if your defense is good enough to keep you in the game, for
Yeah.
the fourth
Who
quarter,
cares?
yeah,
Like,
Listen,
if you're winning, who cares?
It's because Matt Canada's on the sideline now.
Yeah,
I'm
honestly,
telling you.
Yeah,
Besides, at the end of the game, I think one of their players was headhunting for Matt
That
Canada.
was-
yeah.
there was no. If anyone watched that game, if
That
you
was
didn't watch the game, at the
hilarious.
end of the game, Steelers got an interception, and the game's over. All he has to do is like slide down on the ground, and the time clock expires. But he decides to like run this ball back, and he had no shot of ever getting in the other team's end zone. And he just like is barreling out of bounds, like right at his own head and his own coach, and like ran directly into him.
It wasn't Canada.
It was-
which
looked
I was
exactly
pissed
like
about.
him.
Yeah.
At first, I was like, "Oh my god, he's gonna kill Matt Canada."
Well, I was
Yeah.
just so confused why he was running the ball.
Well,
back.
yeah, he was. I get like, was he running just to the sideline to celebrate? I guess like
guess.
forgot
Dude, he
to
was
go down.
like he could have gone out a lot sooner. Like he was
yeah.
barreling, and then when someone pushed him, like
He pushed him when he was like 5 yards out of
Yes.
bounds. So
that's what happens at the end of the game when
Yeah,
you're
like
when you're being an asshole and running
yeah,
the ball
no,
back.
no, totally fair there.
Like,
Yeah,
all he
yeah.
had to do was catch the ball and fall on the ground. The game's over.
Yeah, who cares? Yeah, no, but it was, and then both teams immediately started throwing fisticuffs, and
Yeah.
it was so funny. It was like, this is the dumbest way to end the game, but this is the most Steelers game I've ever seen.
Welcome to the AFC North.
Yeah, literally.
It's a bloodbath, no matter who you play.
Yeah, like you're gonna be throwing hands no matter what.
My takeaway from this game is there was some Jordan Love. Like, is he good this year? Is he not?
Broncos are winning.
I absolutely think
All right, it's 3-0 now.
I absolutely think Jordan Love gets another shot next year.
He
I think he
100%.
will.
like
No,
yeah.
he's got some throws that he threw a pass over the shoulder to Jalen Reed in that
he
game.
just looks
beautiful.
if
Like-
they can get him, some more O linemen, fix the defense a little bit, I think the
Mhm.
Packers could be good. It's going to be a rebuild for like a year
They're
or two.
gonna need to rebuild for a little bit.
Mm.
Like they got young. Yeah, you're right. They have young receivers. They need to fill holes on defense.
Yes.
I know they only let up 19 points, or 23 points.
But
I
it's
guess.
the Steelers.
It's the Steelers.
Who they
offense.
lose? They have Jair Alexander still, right?
They still have Alexander. They lost Rasul Douglas. That
Yeah.
was actually a pretty big loss because he's a pretty
Mhm.
solid corner. Just like having him opposite of Jair. Like they need to beef up probably their
He threw a
linebackers. Did Allen throw a pick?
He did. I just
if we haven't mentioned it before, but we were recording this on Monday night during the Monday Night Football
Was
game, and
he
Josh
in?
Allen threw an interception.
I think. I don't know if he was
Wait,
in or not,
okay,
but
it needs to be reviewed.
wait.
Let's
Oh my
see.
god, wait. One, He's out of bounds.
Damn it, bro.
As you can tell, we are not big Josh Allen fans on the podcast.
Okay, no.
I just pray on the Bills' downfall right now.
No, I think Josh Allen is an awesome person, but sometimes when he's playing football, I don't think he has any brain cells.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
What was
Sometimes he
Mancini? That
reveals
was
downfall.
Whatever. We'll ignore that.
Anyway. Moving on to the next game.
They called the
49ers destroy the Jaguars 34-3. I mean, just there goes all the Jaguars like discourse we had about.
Yeah.
Could they be
good? Could they be no
blown out?
No.
At home too.
At home against the Niners,
Who lost 3 straight.
who lost 3 straight. They came back, mollywopped them. Who in God's green earth allowed Chase Young to go to the 49ers? Who let that happen?
It's absolutely baffling to me that they got him for that
They-
price.
They got him for less than the Bears got.
Yes.
You want to know the best part? If he doesn't re-sign with the team, they get their 3rd round pick back.
Yeah.
What? They got him for free.
Yeah.
Like he just went there. Like
Yep.
he's just there, like just hanging out. Like what?
And he's vibing. Him and Bosa are back
and
together.
Bosa are back.
Yeah, they're chilling. They're so happy.
They already both of them combined for like a sack and then forced fumble. Like
Chase Young was carrying out the boombox in the
yeah,
beginning.
he was like up front with everybody. He's
hitting the
vibing
gritty,
with them.
like,
yeah,
He's like, this is what it feels like to be on a winning team.
like
This is crazy.
It was great.
The whole thing with Chase Young is that like he's like all ceiling, he's all potential and all that. And adding him to an already good defensive line, and then they were lining him up like in the A gap. They were lining him up like outside at like stand up, like a hand in the dirt, like just because he can play anywhere. So he's just like a monster that you can just like throw anywhere. And it's like, okay, well, guess what? You were blocking our front 4 a little bit. Okay, well, we're gonna throw Chase Young and Nick Bosa coming off the same edge. Figured out. It's like, how do you block that?
It's ridiculous.
That's
Yeah.
cool. Watch us deep on to AJ Brown real quick. Anyways, I just needed to plug that.
Look, if you're gonna be talking, you gotta. All right.
We'll
All
see him
right.
in 2 weeks or next 2 weeks. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
But I mean, they came off a bye week, so they had a little bit of energy in that regard. But yeah, that's just a bad look for the Jaguars.
Bad look for the
especially Only
Jags,
getting
yeah.
3 points that entire game, like
Yeah.
that's not what a contender looks like.
Trevor
And that's-
Lawrence also looked really bad.
He looks really bad.
Yeah, he just sometimes he
I don't know. He just
doesn't
like
look dynamic on certain days.
he
Like,
went
no.
back to the Urban Meyer days.
Yeah.
even when Patrick Mahomes doesn't play well, like you see him out there trying to do stuff. You see him
Yeah.
out there like creating opportunities, and I just didn't see that with
no.
just
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence.
A little bit of stroke there.
Yeah. But I just didn't see it with him. Like
No.
he just doesn't like. Sometimes he just looks very like he's really good at playing his role, but
Yeah.
he's not the guy setting the tempo or
Mhm.
whatnot.
Oh, also Christian McCaffrey, you're horrible for not scoring a touchdown. I can't believe you only had 142 yards that game. You're so bad.
You're terrible at football, dude.
We're kidding. Please don't eat me.
I heard Arby's is hiring.
Arby's, send him to McDonald's.
Cue that Visa ad where it's like
Yeah.
McCaffrey's still not good.
Yeah, literally.
Who is really good though? Joshua Dobbs.
Yes.
Like,
Oh my God! Let's
Vikings
go.
take down the Saints 27-19. They pretty much scored 27 points in the first half of that game, and then
Yeah.
held on for dear life. But
Right at the end.
that
there,
first
yeah.
half in the Joshua Dobbs show was really freaking fun.
The Pastronaut is a legend. I am so happy for Josh Dobbs. I don't think I can state that enough. Like he's playing the exact role that we were saying. It's like he played himself into an emergency quarterback role where he can be that, like, he's not going to be the world beater, but
No.
he's going to be a very competent quarterback. And when you plug him into the Vikings offense, which is terrifying,
Yeah.
he's gonna do well.
In all of this,
With
the first 2 games, is missing the best receiver
in the
football.
league. Like,
Just wait till him and Jetta start.
Yep.
can you
Oh my
can you imagine?
Jordan Addison's a wide receiver 1
He's a wide receiver 1
without
Yeah.
without
Justin
Jettas.
Jefferson.
They're going to be terrifying because
And they have TJ Hawkinson, who looked great
Mhm.
this week.
he looks like a top 3 tight end.
Yeah. And
This is going to be scary.
And we talked about their third receiver before. His name's escaping me right now.
KJ Osborne.
Yeah, he's good.
He's a big like they have legitimately like the 3 perfect archetypes at receiver. Like you have Justin Jefferson, who is like a true number 1. He can do anything on the field. He's not as big of a body as some other receivers, but he makes up for that in perfect route running and like burner speed.
Yep,
Jordan-
and he can go get any ball.
And he can go get, and he's a great jump ball guy as well. He makes up for that height with just hops. Jordan Addison, perfect route running, takes the top off the defense, It's like a one move. He can burn any safety.
Not dropping balls.
Not dropping balls. He's a reliable third down catcher. And then KJ Osborne is that big body guy that can go up and get it, can out physical guys. They just need a goddamn run game.
They really do.
And also an entire defense. But we'll ignore that part.
But they can, especially in the NFC, where a lot of teams play shootouts, like in questionable defenses.
It's a good thing to have an offense, honestly.
Yeah. And I think they're in a good spot. Saints just not able to take advantage of another situation.
I mean, Derek Carr gets obliterated and I think he gets a concussion and is out for the game. Jameis Winston
It has been a rough ride for Derek Carr in New Orleans.
It has been rough. Yeah, it really has been. And Jameis Winston comes in, looks like old-fashioned Jameis, where he is either throwing bombs to the offense or the defense. You never know when that...
And picked off again!
Was it picked?
Yeah, this is a factual pick.
Okay. Now Josh Allen got picked. All right. There we go.
I'm a prophet. The Bills fan on the side just...
Maybe we'll start to predict this game in a little bit, but go ahead, Peter.
But yeah. So no, you're fine. But yeah, basically, long story short, Jameis Winston, he's either throwing bombs to the offense or the defense. You never know when it leaves his hand. Like it's gonna be whatever. He is. I mean, he's fine in that offense. I mean, I don't know what it is about the Saints offense. They're like, because they have Chris Olave, they have Michael Thomas, they have Alvin Kamara. They should be good, but they're kind of just like, they're fine. Maybe it's the play calling. Maybe it's Jameis Winston isn't that guy. Maybe it's Derek Carr isn't that guy. I mean, with Derek Carr's record on turning receivers insane, I mean, it's not looking great.
No.
Because he added Michael Thomas, who was throwing bricks at a construction worker, I think.
I saw that. I was
just like, the weirdest headline.
Some headlines where I'm just like, huh?
Like, you got to be joking. Like
why?
Yeah, whatever. But we'll try to ignore that, I guess. But yeah.
Not able to take advantage.
I was just about to say like that note that you made, like NFC South is still up for the taking.
Yep, completely. And like they're just no team's able to separate themselves. The Bucs weren't able to last week. They're in a game that sucked this week, but they were able to win this week, but they weren't able to win last week, and that would have 2 wins in a row would have chained them together. Mm-hmm. The Falcons lost this week, which we'll get to in a second. The Saints lost, and the Panthers suck. So like no one's able to take advantage of it, which is just killing me because one of those teams is going to get home field advantage in the playoffs, in a playoff game. Oh, wait, no.
Yeah.
4 seed. Doesn't get it.
Yeah.
They do. Yeah.
Because they win the division.
Yep. Yeah. Kyler at the ones he gets by. So one of them will get home field advantage, and none of them want it.
Yeah.
Teams don't want to win.
Could you? It's going to be either the Bucs or the Saints.
Yep.
Neither of them deserve home field advantage.
No. I mean, a lot of the NFC teams don't.
We'll get into this. That's fair.
We'll get into this in a minute, but a lot of teams in the NFC don't deserve it. But moving on, we talked about Arthur Smith, why he should be fired. Cardinals beat the Falcons 25-23. Ignoring that section, I'm very happy for Kyler to be back.
Yeah.
This is horrible for the Cardinals to win this game. Because again, I say it every week.
Giants get the 2 seed.
Yeah, this is horrible if you're a Cardinals fan because you are 1-8. You perfect, right? Worst record in the league. The Panthers suck, and they're going to continue to be bad. They're probably not going to win another game.
Harrison Jr. Like
this is exactly what you need. Like the Bears beat the Panthers, so they're out of it. The Panthers are not going to be good, but you're still right with them. Then Kyler Murray comes back, his Call of Duty playing ass, and just beats.
He's lucky that Modern Warfare 3 is bad, so that he's not playing.
I bet he didn't even download it so bad. But it's just, I'm happy for Kyler to win the game. I'm terrified for Cardinals fans who just lost
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, because they decided to win the game. But it's fun because Kyler has a complete say in his future.
Yeah, now he's fighting for it.
If he plays the Cardinals into a playoffs, into a respectable record, they won't draft a quarterback. Mm-hmm. Plain and simple, they'll draft a good skill player that will help him out.
Yep.
If he's not good, then they will be drafting Caleb Williams or Drake May.
Yep.
And he will be fine. He will leave the team.
Yeah, he'll
go to a new space, and I think he's happy in Arizona.
Yeah,
he should be happy in Arizona. They were a really good football team a couple years ago,
like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, and then he tore his ACL last year, and then now he's back in the team. Actually, like I think there's a lot of positives on the team right now. The
team is playing really well.
Yeah.
For the players that they have, like they do not have a lot of stars in that team, and they are fighting in every game.
Yeah, they have legitimately no offensive talent.
No, like
Zach Ertz is cooked.
It's like Hollywood Brown.
Travis McBride looked like God yesterday.
Yeah, out of nowhere
with Kyler Murray.
James Conner looks like prime James Conner.
Yeah, James Conner looks great. So like besides those players, they have no receivers. Yeah. So get a couple of receivers, improve the defense a little bit. Second year under Jonathan Gannon. I really think that
their defense is flying around, and they do not have people in there.
This team is totally better than the Rams and Seahawks potentially next year. I could see it.
Yeah.
I don't know about the Seahawks, but
I think they could be better than the Seahawks.
Well, we know the Seahawks. They're great first half of the season, and then
Well, I mean, like, look,
it's not a Russ thing. It's just the Seahawks.
Well, they're still cursed from dismantling the Legion of Boom
Yup.
unceremoniously, but I don't know if I would need to see. I would need to see how they play for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
I need to see a lot more out of like Kyler. I need to see a lot more out of like their offensive line.
Yeah,
I need to see like them do a lot better. I need to see their defense like really step up in other cases to like really say that. But I could see the argument. I don't think that that's the case yet.
I think the Cardinals shouldn't. I would like, as a football fan, for the Cardinals not to get a quarterback, and I want Jonathan Gannon to succeed. I would prefer them to stick with Kyler. Kyler Murray is a competent NFL quarterback.
Yeah,
I'd rather him stay there, get another team who doesn't have an NFL quarterback an option, and let the Cardinals try to play and win with Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
I would prefer to see that. So I hope they do continue to win a little bit so that they can get better pick, but don't win too much because
you got to stay within top 5.
Yeah, you don't want to lose out on like a Marvin Harrison or the offensive tackle from Penn State or any other big guys,
or even the receiver from Florida State, Coleman.
Yeah, like you don't want to lose out on those guys. So, but I'm happy for Kyler.
Yes,
300.
Very happy for Kyler.
It's like 330
very
days
happy
since
he's
he played
back.
Football.
Yeah.
Get your win.
The league's better when he's playing.
Yep.
Like it is.
And against not a bad team. Falcons are not bad.
Falcons aren't bad. They're just the Falcons.
Yep. Seahawks beat the Commanders 29-26. The Commanders will always give you a tough game. They've played a lot of teams most this entire year.
Mm-hmm.
I think watching the games, Sam Howell is definitely. I almost just said Ham Sowell again. But I think
Can we just start calling him Ham Sowell at this point? Like, let's be real.
Sam Howell, I totally think is the guy you should go for the next 2 years.
Oh yeah.
I think there's no argument to even consider getting a new quarterback for 2 years.
No. Sam Howell easily he should be should finish out his rookie contract there. They should, depending on obviously how he plays, they'll probably end up extending him. But like, he is your guy. Like, he's leading the league in passing, and there's a reason for that. Like, is he great?
Not great.
He's not great. But the thing is like, having at least a competent quarterback in the NFL is hard to come by sometimes, and that's coming from a Giants fan.
And it's his first year playing. I mean, people as we saw him play one game and
last year, but this is realistically his first time playing.
Yeah, it wasn't like he was being mentored by like some like great player.
Because last year, but then this year he gets Eric Bieniemy.
Yes,
and he has an offensive guru coming in and is like really able to like take this team and like lead them. And
also Sam Howell, most sacks in the league, I think.
Their offensive line is terrible. Like, it is awful.
So I absolutely think.
Which, let me just side note. Yes. Why would you ever sign an offensive lineman from the Giants? Just ever. Why would you ever do that? Like, you're asking for your
quarterback. Picking up winning habits over there.
Like, you picked up Nick Gates and he wasn't that good, and then he's not good at Washington. What did you expect? Whatever.
He's down. Are these refs dumb? Why do they let the play still go on?
Anyway,
sorry, I don't want the Bills to win this game.
Seahawks just keep scrapping. I sent a text to everybody in my friend group. I hate the Seahawks. I don't know why.
Why?
Like, I just watch them and I just like I really like. I watched the Seahawks drive down the field and I said, I really want the Commanders to win. And I'm an Eagles fan.
Why?
I don't know. I just really dislike. I think it has something to do with Russell Wilson, and I'm just not.
He's not on the Seahawks.
I know, but I think like from those.
Do you hate
days,
Pete Carroll?
No, I think he's funny. I like him. Also, he looks great for 70.
He looks awesome for how old he is. Like, every time I look at him,
he beat me in a fight.
He probably could.
Yeah,
he can still throw like a 60-yard bomb.
Yeah, have you seen him? Like,
no, I haven't.
It's crazy.
He can still sling it a little bit, but yeah. But whatever.
I don't like the Seahawks. I also don't like DK Metcalf. But
there it is.
Yeah.
We got it.
But
yeah, DK Metcalf is busy doing an MMA fight with a random cornerback like 10 yards down the field.
Yeah. Moving on from that.
Yeah.
What's the score of this game?
3-0.
All right. Let's play, because this is the next game on my schedule to talk about is the Bills versus Broncos. Let's play
hypothetical.
Let's play delusional. Raj, give me your reaction to the Bills losing to the Broncos on Monday Night Football. Now, granted, before Raj says anything, it is 8:40 p.m. on Monday night. We don't know how this game is going to end, but it's 3-0. So pretty much the Bills have lost. Raj, give me your reaction to the Bills losing to the Broncos.
If it happens, the Bills are frauds. They were never a playoff contending team. Sean McDermott might get fired. Stephon Diggs will leave and go to the Chiefs. Josh Allen will now have to, just be a mid-team. He'll turn into Kirk Cousins and regress. their Super Bowl window's over. I wouldn't be surprised if they lost this game.
When the Bills lose this game, they're going to be 5-5.
Yep.
And
the Jets might creep. Oh my god.
We talked about this last week. The Jets blew it because they lost to the Raiders, and we will talk about that.
Well, that was just Uzama screwing him.
But oh my god, so many holding calls. But like the Jets had an opportunity this week to jump the Bills, and if they lose to the Broncos, which I think they will, because it's a segment. This is an absolute disaster because this is the way we were concerned that it could go because they kept running it back and running it back and running it back. And Josh Allen's short circuit, even though he leads the league in touchdowns,
he also leads the league. Does he lead the league in picks?
Probably.
Maybe turnovers.
Yeah. He's not great in that category, and he's costing his team.
Well, I know he's had the most turnovers since coming into the league. He has 91.
Jordan Love and Mac Jones are at 10. Josh Allen's at 9. So he's basically up
right.
there.
Well, he's about. Well, is that updated? He might be at 10.
He's at 10.
He's at 10.
He's at 10.
There it is.
And he might throw another one because who knows?
Yep. So, Bills, it's a disaster if they lose this game.
If the Bills don't make the playoffs, Buffalo will burn.
Yeah. I mean, they would have... The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. The Bills have essentially done the same thing over and over again, and they keep getting the same result. Actually, in fact, they keep finishing worse. And they're going to eventually have to make a decision. Not like a change that's small. Like, again, they got Von Miller the 1 year, and they thought that would be the change. They need a fundamental change to the offense and the defense and the whole entire coaching structure because Sean McDermott is still there. They still are running the Gabe Vincent, Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen. Their offensive line is good, but they don't have any studs there.
Well, it's fine.
The running game is never elite.
No.
And their defense just kind of feels like it gets worse and worse every year.
Because everybody just gets hurt. Everybody just gets hurt every year. It's just I don't know. It's gonna get real loud in Buffalo. If they don't make the playoffs, which at this rate, it's not looking great for them if they're going to end up third in their division. Because the Jets could easily leapfrog them at this point because they got the tiebreaker on them. And I mean, the Patriots are still going to be last, so whatever, that doesn't matter. But if they finish third in the division behind the Dolphins and the Jets, it's going to get real loud. Heads, McDermott might be on the hot seat. The offensive coordinator might be on the hot seat. Defense coordinator might be on the hot seat. I don't know who's going to get fired, but it's going to start getting real hot up in Buffalo. And that's not something I thought I'd be saying at the beginning of the season.
You could make an argument to me that after this year, if the Bills don't make the playoffs, you kind of
you need to reset.
Tear down.
Yeah.
Ask the team be bad for a year, especially if the Jets come back with Aaron Rodgers and everything, kind of take the year off a little bit.
Yeah, you kind of just got to accept
reset and rebuild and
because
do something what the Chiefs did. Get rid of your best receiver. Say, Stephon, we love you. We appreciate everything you did for us. You need to go. Go to a team that can win. We'll get a first or second round pick back because he's worth that. Yeah. And we will use that pick to get better in the long term.
Yeah. I mean, because the whole thing is if you're going to, oh God, who do you send him to though?
Who are we sending?
Diggs,
Chiefs.
No, you wouldn't send him in conference.
No, you're right. You would send him to.
You'd send him to the Niners.
The Niners probably don't have any money to pay.
They don't have any draft capital.
Yeah, they've traded their soul already.
Packers.
Maybe.
The Packers.
Because you'd have to trade them to NFC. The Lions.
Maybe.
The Lions.
No, I don't think
they trade him back to the Vikings.
Dude,
that'd be crazy.
Could you imagine that
Jordan
trade?
Addison, Justin Jefferson, and
Diggs.
CJ Hawkinson lining up.
That would be.
And you have to cover him with the linebackers the whole game because you'd have to put your DBs on
Diggs, Addison, and Jefferson. That'd be disgusting.
Disgusting. That won't happen. They need all the draft picks on their defense, but that's those overreaction again. If the Broncos win tonight, that's great for the Broncos. They're right back in the picture.
Yeah,
especially with the Chargers being not
after
great.
One of the worst openings at the beginning of the year ever.
Yeah. Oh my God, he might go to the Cowboys.
So
please stop talking.
No, stop talking, Raj. Anyway, moving on to games that blow. That's what the notes say for this game, and that's because they do really blow. And we will start off by Bears beating the Panthers on Thursday Night Football, and I will immediately follow that by the Colts beating the Patriots 10-6 in Germany. NFL. How could you possibly think that these games should have been kept. I don't care if you have to call like the U.S. Embassy in Germany.
Yeah.
Why are the Bears and Panthers? Oh wait, no, they're players in football. Yeah. Why are the Colts and Patriots playing in Germany? Who thought this was a good idea? No one in the beginning of the year could have thought possibly that Colts playing the Patriots in Germany was a good idea.
Dude, you're telling me you didn't like that Bailey Zappi fake spike into INT?
into quadruple coverage?
I can name, here's all the games this week that would have been better than that game. The Steelers and the Packers would have been a better game. That game kind of blew.
Every game but the Giants and Cowboys.
The Falcons was a game that kind of blew. Would have been better. Seahawks versus Commanders. No one really cares about that game. Would have been better. Hell, the Bears and the Panthers would have been at least. All right, so our microphones didn't even want to live to talk about Colts, Patriots, Bears, Panthers because the game selection is so bad again. I just can't comprehend why Bears, Panthers was on Thursday Night Football. I understand sort of in the beginning of the year why you would think it's an option, but like they need to be able to flex these games. I don't care what it possibly takes.
Yeah.
Or just like cancel Thursday Night Football. Just cancel.
Just be like, no, we're not doing it this
week. We're not doing it. We're going to show a rerun of a different game. Like, we're going to talk. I could do an entire hour or two talking about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, which would get more views than the Bears and Panthers game. Like, that's horrible. Terrifying. We watched Bryce Young, one of the worst rookie quarterbacks I've ever seen play football, go up against a D2 quarterback who was playing Colorado School of Mines a couple days ago. The game finished 16-3. I mean, it's an irrelevant game.
Yeah.
No one cares. The Panthers are horrible. They're like a poverty show over there. Meanwhile, the Bears were a team that was supposed to be like maybe a low-key Super Bowl threat. Like, turns out they're not. Like, it's an absolute disaster. And then the Colts and Patriots played a game that ended 10-6.
Yeah.
10 points. Was a winning score of a game that happened in Germany. Your whole entire point is you're supposed to spread the fandom. Imagine being a big Germany football fan your whole life. You're a fan living in Germany. Like maybe let's say, for example, you're stationed there by the military.
Yeah.
And you love watching the football. But it's kind of hard to watch it over there.
Or genuinely, maybe you're just following because
Yep.
like you just like American football. It's like we have soccer fans here
Yep.
in the United States. Like
Exactly.
it just
maybe hypothetically you love that. And finally, the sport you love comes to your
to
town.
Germany.
Unfortunately, you're unable to go to the Chiefs-Dolphins game.
and that was
Don't
a pretty
wor-
solid game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but don't worry. We're going to show up to the Colts-Patriots game and watch nothing happen. I mean, the loudest that stadium got was when they were singing Sweet Caroline. That was the loudest that stadium ever got because no one was cheering for anything that game.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you were cheering for, like, again, the Bailey Zappi fake
spike into quad coverage.
into
Yeah.
quadruple I mean, it's absolutely dreadful. I don't know who built the schedules. I understand that they think that these storylines could be interesting. Like where Anthony Richardson and like the Patriots who could be kind of good. Stop. Just pick the teams that you know are going to be good. Like, it's an absolute disaster, and we can just talk about it. Peter's constantly talked about it. Stop airing the Giants games. Stop it. And if I see the Giants Patriots game next week aired, I am going to shoot my TV like, right down the middle. Like, they're so bad. They don't have a quarterback. He doesn't exist.
So I'm gonna say this one last time, NFL, for the sake of my mental health, please flex the Giants Patriots game to midnight on February 29th. Okay, I don't want to watch this.
There was a point.
Isn't it a leap year?
There was a point in.
Don't worry about it.
It's February 29th this year. They'll go to. There's a point in Red Zone where they were like, okay, we don't know which game will finish first, but we might, like, whatever happens because of the last game standing rules, we won't be able to show it. I was like, cool. No one will care if Giants Cowboys are the last game standing because no one's watching.
Yeah.
Like, they wouldn't even turn to the game on Red Zone because nothing mattered because it was such a blowout.
It was like, I mean, I frankly knew the Cowboys were winning from the beginning. I could have put the house on it.
Oh, any of us could have, but
Yeah.
it was very funny to root for the Giants.
Like, there was maybe one whole second where we thought, hey, maybe they got a shot. And then they were like, oh, never mind. We're not doing this.
The Giants, I don't think they should be good. I think they should keep losing because they can get a better draft pick. I think it's great for them. But, like, the game just shouldn't be aired.
No.
It's horrible to watch.
Just stop.
And I don't hate Danny DeVito. Like,
No.
He's not his fault. He's not a NFL quarterback.
Did you just say Danny DeVito?
Tommy DeVito? I knew
Might
it.
as well be Danny
Somebody
DeVito
said-
at this
yeah,
point.
somebody
Like,
said it
whatever.
It's not his fault. He's not an NFL
Tyrod
quarterback,
DeVito.
and he shouldn't be playing. But this is what happens. And yeah, and so all Cowboys fans now who have suddenly made this revelation had this revelation that their team, like their players, are better than they are. Stop beating up on bad teams.
Yeah.
And saying that you're really good for it. Like Dak
guys,
Prescott didn't become an MVP candidate last night because he beat the Giants. Like they did
it's
the first
the
game.
Giants.
It's the Giants.
They're bad.
And the Cowboys beat up on bad teams. You've lost 3 times this season. You've beat every team you beat has a losing record. And the teams that you've lost to are like the Eagles and the Cardinals
and the 49ers.
And the 49ers. Teams that you have to beat to get to the Super Bowl. So I don't want to hear
minus the Cardinals.
Minus the Cardinals
Minus
left
the
an awful loss.
Yeah.
Next week you're gonna play. Oh, who are they playing next week? Oh, they're playing the Panthers next week. Cowboys fans, when you win by 50, don't say, "Oh my God, we're Super Bowl bound," because the next time you play the Eagles, you're gonna lose, and then you're gonna be like, "Shoot, we're not a good football team." Like, I don't want to hear the Cowboys.
Where are we in like the Cowboys like cycle? Where like because it's like
oh, we're here, beat up on bad teams.
You know, it's like this is our year. Lose to a good team.
Beat up on a mediocre team. We're so back.
We're so bad. No, so it's we're so back. Dak is an MVP candidate.
Yep.
Choking the playoffs.
Yep. We're at Dak is an MVP candidate.
Yep.
Dak is an MVP candidate.
Because that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
And I just can't give an MVP to anybody. It's the same thing with the Dolphins. Why I won't do to Tua. You have to beat teams that are good. At some point, you have to beat NFL teams that are good. To like, I don't care what your record is if you have a bad schedule. Like,
what
if you're
kind of fraudulent schedule did they play?
If you're 12-5 at the end of the year, and the only 12 teams you beat had losing records or even records, and you lost to 5 teams, I'm not giving you the MVP award.
No.
Like, you need to beat good teams, and the Cowboys have not done so yet, and they've only beat up on bad teams really good. And that's cool. Like, it's nice to beat up on bad teams because the Eagles don't beat up on bad teams, and they have to play into the fourth quarter. But they also beat the good teams. So moving on, another game that blew was Bucks versus Titans.
Hey, the Bucks won.
They did win.
Anyway,
that's all. I have. Mike Evans had a really bad drop in the end zone, and then the play later, he like just trucked over like 5 people against
and got in the end zone. Yeah, it's like,
that was crazy.
All right.
Other than that, no other takes.
Couldn't tell you what happened in that game.
Nope.
No.
A Buccaneers player was trying to stop the Titans from like getting a first down or something, and like basically pulled his pants all the way down around his ankles, and his whole ass was out on national TV. That was the highlight for that game.
Top tweet was, "Bro, it ain't that deep. Just let him go.
Just let him go, please."
That's hilarious. Next game, Jets Raiders. Raiders win 16-12, and I will.
Uzama choke that by not letting Garrett Wilson get that.
Yeah,
I will go to my grave saying this because we talked about it the other day before the Rams signed Carson Wentz. By going with Zach Wilson the entire year, you have completely and utterly ruined your chance at getting a playoff spot.
but I honestly think that's better for them.
But why?
Because honestly, their main issue is that their offensive line is hurt. They have great offensive linemen, but they're constantly hurt. They need more depth. And as you saw, literally the first game where Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles, he was getting pressure in his face the entire time. So in my opinion, they should do what the 49ers did that one random year where they were pretty solid, randomly tanked, and then went right back and almost won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's what they should do. It's like, look, you're going to tank for the rest of the year. You're going to go get a solid offensive lineman. Go get a guard. Go get a tackle. Who cares? Protect Aaron Rodgers at all costs. You have Garrett Wilson, solid offensive player. Or not solid. He's a very good receiver. Alan Lazard, good blocker. Kind of bad at catching. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Breece Hall, very good running back.
I think Breece Hall would be a top running back if he was on a team like the Eagles.
Yeah.
There you go.
He's really good.
Well, any running back looks good on our team.
Dalvin Cook actually looked better last night.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
He legitimately looked better last night. Their defense.
I mean, Randall Cobb,
Yeah.
first round pick in the fantasy football draft.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
top overall talent.
Oh, right. I forgot.
Flag football.
Well, he wasn't my first round pick. He was my
Who
fifth.
cares? Shut up. But
Elite player.
elite
Great
player,
locker room.
Exactly.
Yeah, great locker room guy.
Veteran leadership.
Their
He did.
defense is so good.
Mhm.
It is like astonishing how good their defense
Just on
is.
the field the whole time.
They play the entire game. Like they let up 16 points.
How you
What
gonna
do you want them to
How are you
do?
going to let Aiden O'Connell beat you?
Like that dude looks like Sid if he gained 50 pounds. Like
So Derek Carr with
I
a
just-
stash and 50.
I
Yeah,
like
literally,
what you're
like-
saying, but it seems like the Jets are trying to win.
No, the Jets
that's-
are trying to win, but they dude, dead. Leave it. It's dead. Okay. I know everybody wants Aaron Rodgers to come back. I know it's going to be so cool when he comes back. They're just going to lose. Don't let him get hurt. Just please. I know you've been suffering for 20 years. I know, but you just got to hold out hope for one more year.
Yeah, I think Robert Saleh should either decide earlier on that they were not going to win for the season and just tank, or that they should have gone and got an actual quarterback, because, again, like, I think they've just blown like 2-3 games just purely because they don't have a quarterback that can play. And I understand going through Guy a little bit during the beginning of the year, but it's clear that a backup, getting a Josh Dobbs, getting a Carson Wentz, you would have won these games. I'm sorry, no, Carson Wentz would not have lost the Raiders.
The pick that he threw at the end was really bad.
Yeah.
He was telegraphing his receiver the entire time. He threw it to his inside shoulder when a linebacker was coming across, and it's like, you got to, if you're gonna.
They
throw...
lost to the Patriots, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the Patriots in this game, like, those are 2 losses where your team easily could be above 500 right now.
Yeah.
And I also want to say to anybody out there who wants Rodgers to return this year, no. They said in a segment that he was running on 50% body weight, was hoping to go up to 75%, and that he was not even getting up on his toes. And you want him to come play quarterback in December?
Behind that offensive line?
He's going to die.
Not.
He's going to die.
Like, I think his recovery is fantastic. The technology's allowed him to get to a point where he's walking and throwing a football, and that's great.
Yeah.
But you don't want him to go back out there and possibly like, he can't get on his toes, and they want him to play football.
It's not worth it's not worth it. You are not ready yet. That defense is ready. That offense is not ready yet.
No.
Period. That offensive line needs to get better. You
get
need
a
to
top
have
pick, get a new draft pick, and just take the season.
You need a couple more things. You need to beef up that offensive line. You need depth at that offensive line is really the key thing, to have people you can rely on, because guys are going to get hurt every year. There's no excuse for it. Every single year people get hurt. You need guys to be able to come in that can at least, obviously I'm not saying that they should be able to replace superstars, but they should be able to play competent football and work together as a unit. That's the entire point of an offensive line, is that they can work together. So that way, if one's a little bit weaker, they can then shift around it. They need to beef up the offensive line, and they need a wide receiver too. They can't just throw it to Garrett Wilson every single time.
Yeah,
because you're going against good defenses. They're just going to double team them, and that's going to be it.
Stephon Diggs.
No,
well, they're not going into. They wouldn't trade him in division.
Yeah. All right, that's NFL.
Well, it's going to be sick when Devontae Adams goes there.
It's NFL Week 10. We'll still be looking for that last game, and we'll. We never talk about the Monday night games when it comes to next Monday.
Who cares?
But again, the Broncos are going to win. So we're going to do a quick segment called Bubbles, and everyone had the same answers. So it's not very exciting.
Yeah.
But we're just going to each give a brief take about why we think each team belongs in what either the contender bubble or the if things go right bubble. Like, if things go right, that means an injury happens or the circumstances break their way and they get into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So starting off, Chiefs.
Do we need to really explain this?
Exactly.
One?
We don't need to explain the Chiefs. There's a reason why they're in the contender bubble. They've won the Super Bowl before.
The only caveat is they need to figure out their offense.
Yes.
Which, of course, we're saying they need to figure out their offense. Sounds like a big thing, but it's more of like they need to turn it back to what it was, because we know they can.
They need to get to 28 points, 35 points a night versus their current 14 to 21.
Yeah,
they need to move into that class.
They need to move into that, like, a more elite class of offense again, which we know they can do.
Yeah,
it's possible. Like,
I think Travis will be feeling motivated after this weekend.
I think there's going to be some big motivation this weekend, because not only is this against
his brother,
but it's against Taylor's hometown team, so he's got to show out for them. She's got to show out.
On a side note, everything the Kelsey brothers have done, like, on media and grown their brand, is like
awesome,
incredible, and very impressive. Like, they've become like icons. Well, I mean, on Wednesday, Travis's song on the Christmas album.
Jason's.
Travis's song on Jason's album.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he's a feature on the album.
No way.
That's an AJ Brown.
That song is dropping Wednesday, so they've already had Jordan Mailata sing. All I Want for Christmas. It's actually really good.
Yeah,
and they got
Patty LaVelle
for another song.
Yeah,
she's on.
This album is going to be a heater.
And Travis Kelce's song on the album drops on Wednesday.
Dude.
So
I wonder who the feature is.
Dude, that would be
Taylor's not on the album. Next year, if they're still dating next year, I guarantee you.
I don't know, dude. It's almost like her family's from Philly. or Pennsylvania.
Okay, well, they're not from Philly. They're from like 2 hours outside of Philly.
Still,
it's like saying I'm from New York City.
She could easily go visit her parents and then quickly stop in the studio.
Dude, what? No.
Look.
I would love it to happen, but it's not going to.
I think
I'm holding out hope. It might happen.
They're really concerned about her brand. I don't know if they're going to start off.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like having her on the
yeah
Philly offensive line
on the Jason Kelsey special of the offensive line Christmas song. Yeah,
but yeah, Travis's song is dropping Wednesday, which is funny.
Yeah.
But anyway, Ravens contender. They're a contender for me.
They're a contender, but they're like right on the edge.
But they're bubbling.
Yeah, they're right on the edge there
because like they're really good when they're playing well, and they've beat like the Lions was really impressive, and the Seahawks, they destroyed the Seahawks last week. But then they have the Browns. They're 2 losses this year to the Browns both times. So I think they should just hope they don't run to the Browns.
Yeah, basically.
But they're a very good team.
Yeah,
and then we have the Eagles.
Eagles, no real explanation. It's kind of a similar thing with the Chiefs. Like they kind of just need to have their offense not stall out,
and then figure out the defense.
And then the defense needs to be more consistent because they can either dominate or let up some bad plays.
Yep.
They just need to be more consistent. I feel like.
Yep.
Because I mean, of course, they need to be more consistent. They're 8-1.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, they're still winning games, but it's like they haven't shown that true dominance that they did last year. Which again, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you're winning games. Like if you're winning dirty games, but you're still winning. Like who cares?
Yep.
But to really cement themselves as in like, okay, yeah, like we don't need to worry about them at all. They need to beat the Chiefs this week.
Yep. And then Cowboys.
Let me see them beat a team above 500. Then I'll put them in that team. That's my one
you can see their potential. Though.
Yeah.
That's where I'm putting the Cowboys in contender because I could see
they
a
are
world.
A contender. By definition, they are a contender.
I could see a world in which they went through that pretty, like if they played the Niners
the
Eagles, and I could see them. I wouldn't like their matchup with the 49ers. The 49ers have owned them. But besides that, I could see them doing it. I'm not happy about it. I don't want to say it.
Yeah.
But I do think they're a contender. 49ers, we all agree.
Obviously, I think they're back. I mean, like, as long as their offense can stay consistent, and they need to figure out their secondary, because their front 7 is disgusting. It's the best in the league. It's not even close. Like, I love the Philly defensive line, don't get me wrong, but the linebacking core of the 49ers is leaps and bounds.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Insane. But their secondary is a little bit shaky, and their offense needs to be more consistent. I think that bye week, I think it looked like it really helped a lot.
For sure.
They came out of there, they were humming. I mean, I think the big thing is, hey, throw the ball to George Kittle. I think he's good at football.
He is good at football. Lions, they're
solid.
You can see they need to put together a game where they have both things happen at the same time. They clearly have an elite offense, and their defense can play very well together schematically. They need a game where they can put those both together to really prove that they are. But if they do that, I can see that.
And another 3-and-out by the Bills. Nice job, Kincaid.
Things go. So the first thing to do for the contender bubbles, there's only 2 AFC teams in there, and that's genuinely because I believe there are 2.
Bless you.
Oh, he's got the COVID-22.
Yep. I believe there's only 2 teams that are contenders right now in the AFC because everything else is like way too inconsistent at the bottom.
Yeah.
I did miss the if things go right, Jaguars. So we'll go Jaguars, Bills, Bengals, Browns, Dolphins, all from the AFC. Because I think things have to go right. For the Bills, they need
to win tonight.
They need to win tonight, which is a big step.
It ain't looking good.
But they're inconsistent. I think they would have to have a team get injured, or they'd have to have a perfect round of matchups to get through.
Yeah.
Bengals, they're going to have just a dogfight to get into the playoffs.
They need to win out, period.
Yeah. So they're going to need to be great just to get into the playoffs and then to play 4 games to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen. Browns, their defense is really good.
Good.
But they've let up so many points in certain games, and their offense is not going to be able to.
Which is really sad because this offense would be really good if they had Nick Chubb. But
they just don't have the offense talent, I don't think. The Dolphins can't beat a team that's over 500.
Yeah, the Dolphins, it's like they need to actually play. I mean, they did play well against the Eagles, but they need to beat a team like the Eagles.
I feel like for the Dolphins, they need to run into a situation where like they get the Steelers in the first round.
Yeah,
and
some team
that kind of feels more of like a 500 team. They beat them, and then an upset happens and they get to play a Bills team versus a Bills team versus the Kansas City Chiefs. And
as opposed to Kansas City
they need
Chiefs,
a lot easier, better matchups for them to get through. But I think if they play a team like the Ravens or the Chiefs, and they play the Ravens, Chiefs, and
Ravens, Chiefs,
and Jaguars, they're screwed.
There you
go. Jaguars, again, I don't think they have the top end talent just to.
I think they're still pretty young.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't think they have the wide receiver talent either.
Like Calvin Ridley's good, but I think everybody's like, oh, they don't have anybody else beside him. Double him.
But he's and they're
Don't you dare disrespect Christian Kirk now.
Yeah, And then
ETN's good though.
ETN's good.
And then Vikings are the only NFC team there, just because they're playing really well right now.
I just need to see them keep doing it.
Yeah,
and also
they started off really bad.
They started off really bad. And then they started going on a heater. Kirk Cousins was the MVP.
Yep.
Well, Chris McCaffrey was at the time, but whatever. He was going to go to it. It was going to go to Cousins. It literally was, just because of the way he was playing. But then he got hurt.
Now Josh Dobbs is there,
the pastronaut,
and their defense can't play.
And their defense is still bad.
Yep. But Daniil Hunter leads league in sacks still.
Yeah.
So
he's so good. So yeah, they need linebacker help. They need defensive tackle help. They need corner. Yeah, so basically, they need everything to go right and to play a team that has no receivers somehow in the playoffs.
Hence, why they're in the fifth things go right bubble.
Exactly.
So that's our bubbles. Hope you enjoyed that. All right, this podcast has gone long. We have some NBA news, though, I want to run by, so we're going to do it rapid
just real fast.
So first thing first, I put some rapid-fire things that you should know about the NBA because you're probably not paying attention during the beginning stages.
Exactly.
The Heat have won 5 straight games.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Okay, anyways.
The Heat have won 5
straight games after starting horrible, which is really good for the Heat because they're never really good in the regular season, especially early. So maybe they won't have to play in the play-in game this time around just to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
The Mavs are 8-2. That's really good for them because they still don't really feel like a contender team, but Kyrie re-signed and Luka, and they really need that to work out well. Great.
But it's good that they're winning early in the season.
Yeah. Timberwolves are 7-2, which is also really good because they have the awkward Rudy Gobert, Cat, Anthony Edwards thing going on. Really good for them to start off their season well because like potentially one of those guys is on the trading block, so that all of a sudden the Rockets are 6-0. Win 6 straight after a 0-3 start. So now they're 6-3, which is a really fascinating young team that has a lot of excitement and a lot of potential, but they're actually just playing really well right now. So those are really cool. Now the Clippers have lost 5 straight games, and I'm not going to turn this into a Sixers, and I'm not.
Harden is the locker room cancer.
I'm not turning this into a Sixers and Clippers comparison, but here are some things I'd like to note about the James Harden. Since James has gotten there, they've lost 4 straight games.
5.
When James Harden, 4 games when he's been there. They've lost 5 straight in general.
Jesus.
When James Harden, in those 4 games, when James Harden's on the court, their offensive rating is the worst in the league.
Oh my God.
When he's off the court, their offense is 7th best in the league.
What the?
When he's on the court, their defense is the worst in the league. And when he's off the court, they are the best defense in the entire league.
What is wrong with that?
We absolutely faced that retirement home.
I would like to acknowledge that James Harden has played 4 games there.
However,
he's also played 32 minutes per game since he's been there. So we have had a decent sample size to know the Clippers are not all that good with James Harden. In fact, they're actually better without him on the team right now, on the bench. So my advice to the Clippers is take your medicine. You shouldn't have traded for him. And play him off the bench. Tell him to suck it up. And try to salvage your season because you've lost 4 straight with him. Your team looks significantly worse. If you just watch the game, whoever's listening this late in the podcast, maybe I'll clip this out. If you have not watched the Clippers games, please turn on NBA League Pass. I'll lend you my password. Go watch James Harden play offense. They don't know what they're doing. Kawhi Leonard, you would think he's a role player when James Harden's on the court. Russ, James, Paul George, Kawhi, they don't look like they know what they're doing. When James Harden
these are some of the
basketball.
best players on the planet.
Yes. They have no idea what they're doing. So my advice is just Clippers shouldn't have done that. Anyway, Tyrese Maxey dropped 50 points last night, and that was pretty darn cool.
That was for Kelly
Oubre. For Oubre.
Yeah.
For Oubre, man. Anyway, also, nobody cares about the in-season tournament.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on.
None of the players even know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Whenever I see that the court has changed, I'm like, oh, this is an in-season tournament game. Cool. I want the players to get the bag, but also no one cares about it. So I don't think this is
cool NBA promotional thing no one cares about. Thanks, NBA. Yeah. Thank you, Adam Silver.
Raj, that's a great way to end the podcast. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. This has been the Coconut
Whoa.
I did it again. The Coconut Curry podcast. We're out.
NBA has cool colors during in-season tournaments.
Please stop airing Giants games.